A vegan diet has dangerous side effects, according to this Times of India article that I came across, which is the first thing that comes up when you type in the dangers of a vegan diet. And we're going to see if it's true or not. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Now, I'm going to go through this article and this is the first point. Low energy and weight problems. When we switch from an animal-based diet to a plant-based diet, it becomes difficult to track our calories. It is because plant-based foods are not as rich in calories as animal-based foods. Hence, if you're eating smaller portions as you did in your earlier lifestyle, it is sure to bring your energy levels drastically. Now, this is true. If you're used to eating a meat diet, for example, if you like pasta and you like having pasta and bolognese with meat, and once you switch to a vegan diet, if you swap out the meat with beans, kidney beans or lentils, that's significantly less calories. And those calories, that caloric difference, each meal throughout your day, it builds up and builds up. And at the end of the day, you would have realized that you're eating way lot less food on your vegan diet as you were on an animal diet. That's a fact. It's not a side effect. And that's an easy fix. You just have to make sure you're eating the correct number of calories. And there's a range of things you can do to make sure you're hitting your calorie goals even on a vegan diet. This goes on to say that less food equals less nutrition and low energy, blah, blah, blah. You just have to make sure you're still eating the correct amount of calories, the right amount of calories that you need to be eating even on a vegan diet. Now, one of the ways that I've done this is to utilize fats. Now, fats are a great way of getting in more calories. Like almonds, just a handful of almonds can be 300 calories. So if you have a few almonds, add in some nuts, add in some seeds in your smoothies. These are really high in calories, but good calories. They're good food. You're not adding in oil, you're not adding in all that stuff. So just adding in fats, increasing your fats, because fats are higher in calories just in general. Adding in more fats in your day can help you reach your caloric goals. So just adding in like some handful of almonds, eat more nuts, add in some seeds. And these are small things you can make in your day, small changes you can make in your day, and they can have a big difference in your calories and how you feel. So that's all it is, just add in more calories, and I don't know why that's a side effect. And obviously if you're eating more calories, you feel more energized and you feel like you have more energy. I feel like I have more energy because of the amount of volume of food that I'm eating. So this is obviously false. Leaky gut issues. This is an issue that I have dealt with. I have IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. The reason why I went vegan in the first place was when I first went vegan, before I knew all about the animals and stuff, I went vegan for health reasons because of my IBS. And honestly, it was meat that was my trigger food. So when they say legumes, and I'm not saying it can't be true, legumes could be a problem for you, but for me, it was meat that was a problem. Meat was inflammatory for me, and the more meat that I ate, the more digestive issues that I had. And as soon as I went vegan, that all changed. And obviously when you first become vegan, there's going to be a period of time for your body to get adjusted to such an increase of fiber at once. So it's going to take about a week, 2 weeks. So I would recommend slowly increasing your fiber. So if you're eating beans, kidney beans, lentils, don't jump on it straight away. Slowly increase it in your day, slowly, day by day, and see how you go. And obviously, if legumes are a trouble to you, don't eat them. There's lots of foods out there that trigger people in terms of for inflammatory problems, digestive problems, and you don't have to eat them. Not everyone has to eat legumes. So find out what works for you. If you suffer from this, It's not everyone. I mean, you can be completely fine and eat legumes. Me right now, I eat whatever I want. I can eat anything. The only thing that I try to avoid is soy. Processed soy, like soy milk, really triggers me. Not as much as meat used to, but it still causes me digestive issues, so I try to stay away from soy as much as possible. But all you have to do is find out what foods isn't right for you and cut that out. And that's not really a problem for everyone, so that's not really a side effect. Hormone disruptions. Soy is another source of plant protein that vegans turn to. Processed soy products such as soy milk and tofu are integral parts of a vegan diet. All forms of soy contain phytoestrogens, and consuming more than a recommended amount of soy can negatively impact the hormonal levels of the body. Hormonal imbalances can give way to breakouts in the skin, hair fall, irregular menstrual cycles, big skin, blah blah blah. So the wording here is so carefully done. Consuming more than the recommended amount of soy. And they sneak this in right there. And of course, I just spoke about soy, processed soy, it triggers me. So it's not, I don't avoid it completely. I just avoid it as much as I can. And I do love my soy meat. I love soy mock meat. And every once in a while, it's fine, but I don't try to have it every single day. But obviously consuming anything more than a recommended amount is going to cause problems, and not, it just says impacts all of these things. So it doesn't mean anyone who consumes more than the recommended amount are going to experience this, but having more than a recommended amount of anything is going to cause you problems. So if soy causes you problems, it's not for everyone, but if it does cause you problems, just avoid it. And if you like tofu, just eat tempeh, which is a less processed version of tofu, and I honestly think it tastes much better than tofu. So that's a quick fix. You don't have to eat soy if it affects you, and for a majority of people, they're fine with soy. They can eat tofu, they can drink soy milk, they're fine. Lack of iron. Now, obviously, this is a fan favorite, the iron deficiency argument, and this has been debunked over and over again, but let's talk about it once again. There are plant-based sources of iron. You can you can get iron from a lot of sources, plant-based. You can get it from tofu, you can get it from lentils, legumes, you can get it from cereal. And what this fails to mention is that vegans are not more likely to become iron deficient than the general population. So this whole iron deficiency thing is it's false. It's not true. A vegan diet, vegans generally consume more vitamin C, which increases iron absorption in our body. So vegans are not more likely to be iron deficient than non-vegans. There are a lot of foods out there with lots of iron for vegans. I don't supplement with iron, and I'm completely fine. I've had blood tests, my iron levels are fine. So this is BS once again. Risk of B12 deficiency. B12 is an essential vitamin, and its deficiency can cause numerous irreparable damages in the body. Now, B12, just like iron, is another thing, and it is true that B12 is primarily found in animal products because animals are supplemented with B12. They are supplemented with B12, which is why they are high in B12. And why do you have to eat meat to get B12 when the animals that you eat get B12 from the same place as vegans, which is through supplementation? Risk of depression. This is a funny one. People following a vegan diet are at an increased risk of depression as their diet has a sharp decline in omega-3 fatty acids and a rise in omega-6 blah blah blah. They can include algae-based omega-3 sources in their diet, but they are costly and hard to find, which is not true. You can get omega-3 from a lot of plant-based foods like chia seeds, flax seeds, but I do supplement. I had to refill on my supplements today, and it cost me $10. $10 for 75 tablets. It will last me 2.5 months. $10. 10 Australian dollars. It is not costly, it is not hard to find, and as more and more people go vegan, it's going to be more and more easier to find. But you can get omega-3 from chia seeds, from flax seeds, from a lot of plant-based foods, but I just find it easier to get it from a supplement just to be sure. Now, this really pissed me off because this is so not true. The only reason that people have eating disorders is because they restrict themselves too much, and vegan diet is not restrictive. If anything, vegan diet is less restrictive. It gives you more freedom to try out more foods, like fruits you would have never tried, vegetables you would have never tried, all these different kinds of foods you would have never tried if you weren't a vegan. I'm eating a more variety of food right now than I used to as a meat eater. So vegan diets are not restrictive, and I'm not restricting myself with anything. I don't get why people think vegan diets are so restrictive, because vegan diet isn't adopting something, it's just leaving something off. We're not trying to eat one particular way. We're just trying to avoid eating these foods. And we can eat everything else, and all we're doing is trying to avoid these kinds of foods, which is meat and dairy. And there are tons of foods out there. There are tons of recipes out there. Meat and dairy, not every meal is based around meat and dairy. So vegan diet is not restrictive. And like I said before, if you struggle to get in more calories as a vegan, that's one thing. But for me, I love eating food. And if anything, I overeat on a vegan diet just because I love eating, and I would just eat, and I end up eating a lot more food than I should be. But the vegan diet is definitely not restrictive, and I feel like I have so much more freedom now than I ever had. In my 8 years of lifting and dieting, I've never had this much amount of freedom in what I can eat, because I don't have such a huge portion of my calories being taken over by meat protein. I have so many more calories left over to experiment with all these different kinds of foods. So that's pretty much the argument. That's the article right here, and 7 dangerous side effects of a vegan diet. As we realized, this is complete BS. There is no side effect from a vegan diet. If you do it properly, if you eat a plant-based whole foods diet, you're going to be completely fine. I just make sure I'm eating some kind of protein in all of my meals, and as long as I'm hitting 140 to 150 grams of protein, I'm good. I'd really appreciate it if you guys hit the like button, and if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe. Comment down anything below and I will respond. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one.